Wedeter, home AI and technology business and money books and publishing resources. Wedeter editorial June 2026 6-minute read. Best local AI tools you can run on your laptop 2026 guide. I remember the first time I tried to run an AI model locally on my laptop. I expected a seamless experience, but instead, I found myself spiraling into a hardware shopping spree, convinced that I needed an industrial-grade graphics card just to chat with a text box. That was a mistake. After spending weeks testing various configurations and tools, I realized that building a private AI workstation is not about chasing the largest possible model or the most expensive hardware. It is about friction. The best setup is the one that actually runs on the computer you already own. In 2026, local AI has matured into a practical, everyday utility for those of us who value privacy and workflow control. By moving from a biggest is best mentality to a smallest useful model strategy, I have found that I could do most of my daily work planning, drafting, note cleanup, and brainstorming without ever sending a single byte to a cloud server. This guide breaks down how to get there, what tools to use, and perhaps most importantly, when to stick with the cloud. The case for starting small. The biggest hurdle for beginners is the psychological weight of impressive AI. We see headlines about giant models and assume that if our local setup does not produce polished, genius level reasoning, it has failed. In my experience, this mindset is the fastest way to get discouraged. When I start with a small, efficient model, I am not trying to replace a supercomputer. I am trying to prove that my computer can run a private, responsive chat session. I focus on models in the 1B, 1 billion parameter range, such as Gemma 31B or Llama 3.21B. These are the workhorses of the local AI world. They're small, easy to download, and they do not turn your laptop into a space heater. When I use these models, I am not looking for profound philosophical insights. I am looking for a reliable way to turn rough notes into a checklist, summarize a document, or outline a project. Because they have a small footprint, they load instantly and get out of the way. If a small model fails, I know it is a model limitation. If a giant model fails, I am left wondering if my hardware was the bottleneck, which makes troubleshooting significantly harder. Choosing your runner, Ollama. If you want to run local AI without turning your computer into a science project, you need a reliable runner. For my own workstation, I use Ollama. It has become the gold standard for a reason. It is boring in the best possible way. It does exactly one thing well. It downloads and runs models on your machine without requiring a degree in computer science. Science. When you start, ignore the urge to hunt for fancy web interfaces, complicated plugins, or uncensored bundles you find on random forums. These are often messy, insecure, or poorly maintained. I always pull Ollama directly from the official website. It works cleanly on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Once installed, it runs in the background. You interact with it through your terminal, which feels intimidating at first, but is actually the most stable way to ensure your model is running. I found that by keeping the tool official and simple, I avoid 90% of the it does not work issues that plague other AI setups. Setups. Basic setup, proof before power. Before you install anything, check your machine. You do not need a beast of a computer to run small models, but you do need breathing room. I suggest at least 8 gigabytes of RAM. Those 16 gigabytes is where things start to feel snappy. Storage space is the other critical factor. While 1B models are small, they add up, and you need room for the tool itself and the model files. My installation process is deliberately unexciting. Check the official download page for my operating system. Install the software following the standard prompts. Open my terminal and run the simplest command. Ollama run Gemma 3:1b. That is it. If the model pulls, which requires an internet connection for the first time and gives me a prompt, I have one. I do not try to run multiple models at once. I do not try to set up advanced agents. I confirm the tool works, I test a simple prompt, and I verify that the response makes sense. Only after that baseline is established do I consider anything else. Practical use cases for local AI. Once you have a model running, you might wonder what to do with it. If you try to dump your entire life into a 1B model, you will be disappointed. I use my local setup for what I call draft space tasks. These are the jobs that need room before they are ready for prime time. My most common use cases include note cleanup. I paste messy, scattered thoughts from my journal, and the model turns them into structured bullet points. Drafting emails and messages. I write a rough, blunt draft and ask the model to polish the tone or clarify the structure. Troubleshooting. I ask for checklists on how to solve technical issues before I go searching for answers online. Outline creation. When I start a writing project, I ask the model to give me 5 different ways to organize the structure. Offline work. When I am on a flight or in a coffee shop without reliable internet, my private assistant is always there. The beauty of this is that the privacy is inherent. Because the process happens entirely on my own silicon, I am not worried about what happens to the data. It never leaves my machine. When not to use local AI. There is a dangerous amount of hype in the AI space that suggests you should replace all cloud tools with local ones. That is bad advice. I have learned the hard way that there is a boundary where local AI loses its utility, and knowing where that line is helps me stay productive. I do not use local AI when I need current information. If I am writing an article about news that happened this morning, or if I need stock prices or weather, my local model is useless because it is frozen in time based on its training data. For that, I need the web access and real-time connectivity of a cloud model. I also avoid local AI for advanced reasoning and heavy research. If I am analyzing a 200-page document or trying to connect complex, multi-layered concepts, a 1B model will just hallucinate with confidence. Those tasks require the massive intelligence of cloud-based models that have billions of parameters and access to vast context windows. I use cloud AI for high-level synthesis and local AI for the granular, private, low-stakes drafting. Using the wrong tool for the job is the fastest way to get frustrated. The upgrade path. So, when do you upgrade? The temptation is to upgrade as soon as you have a few extra dollars, but I recommend a proof first, upgrade second rule. I only move to a larger model, perhaps 3B or 4B, if I have a specific task that my 1B model consistently fails at. Maybe I need more nuance in my writing, or my coding questions are getting too complex. Even then, I don't throw away the small model. The best workstation setup often includes a fleet of models. I keep my 1B model installed because it is fast and responsive for quick checks. I keep a 4B model for more demanding drafting. I keep the cloud for research. This isn't about finding the one model to rule them all. It is about having the right tool for the specific task in front of me. Key takeaways. Start small. Don't try to build a digital moon base on day one. A private AI chat that runs is the only goal that matters initially. Keep it official. Always download Ollama from the official source. Avoiding fake installers is the best security practice you can adopt. Focus on friction. Choose the smallest model that actually solves your problem. If a small model works, upgrading just adds complexity and resource drain. Know the boundary. Use local AI for privacy, drafting, and organization. Use cloud AI when you need fresh facts, advanced research, or complex reasoning. Evidence-based upgrades. Only spend money on hardware or move to larger models when your current setup is demonstrably preventing you from completing a task you care about. Building a private AI workstation is a skill. It takes time, it takes testing, and it takes a bit of patience. But once you have that first prompt running locally, you stop looking at AI as a magic black box and start seeing it as a tool you control. That is a shift worth making. Related articles. The Silent Trap of PDT of 2026, How to Start a Newsletter Local AI versus Cloud AI, Best AI Tools for Beginners, Best Local AI Tools, How I Use AI, Self-Publishing Basics, AI, Tools, Business Tools, Publishing Tools, Websites Worth Bookmarking Report, Margin Risk on Cash Secured Puts. Wedeter. We determine what connects. Explore home AI and technology business in money books and publishing resources. Quick links. About privacy policy terms of use contact. Copyright 2026 Wedeter.com. We determine what connects.